Tez.
Welcome to the TezDown. Welcome.
I'm the Tez.
Mic check 1 2. Welcome. Welcome to the TezDown. Party time. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, research, education, and parody. Under this act, fair use is permitted use of copyrighted content that might otherwise infringe on the exclusive rights of copyright holders. The TezDown podcast is a platform for entertainment and education. Edutainment, a blend of education and entertainment, emphasizes content that informs while it entertains. The views expressed in this channel's commentary do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of the hosts, and may not always reflect the complete or verified accuracy of information presented. All content, including commentary, analysis, and discussion, falls within the legal parameters of fair use. We make no claims to ownership of any third-party content. This is the TezDown. Sports unscripted, culture unfiltered. Thank you for understanding.
Blah, blah, gay sex, blah, blah, Congress.
Are you making another beat, Daddy?
What up, nephew?
And Genius is my dad.
Hey, Lele. Classic. Bass. Hard times ain't nothing. Really come from a struggle.
What?
Move around Michael Buffer. Always ready to rumble. All that minutes off the muscle. Y'all can't match my hustle. Screen bucket, that's a cuzzo. Bigger key to no muzzle. Lately I'm feeling exhausted. Think I'm tired of being humble. Coach all on the duffel. Chip on my shoulder, you don't wanna ruffle. Where I come from, everybody is cutthroat. Could've been dead, I'm just doing what I'm up for. My old homie jumped off the roof. I tried to shepherd, he was nuts so. Life, win or you lose, you gotta pick it or choose. Inspired, chose to win. Now I'm wearing furs on a cruise. The shortest path always straight. Why you all in your own way? You scream YOLO to be goofy instead of using that to be great. You black, you should be proud. When I die, split money with the apes. It's gonna be a ton. I'm running up the rate. My name on your tongue, I'm coming up the ranks. Consistency so persistently is the recipe. I cannot lose. My options in life is win, succeed, or win. How can I choose? I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. So damn it, I think I'ma do. Survived a lot, I could've died a lot, but I'm here, got nothing to prove. Woke up, inspired. Woke up, inspired. Woke up, inspired. Woke up, woke up. Woke up feeling inspired. Treadwheel, low pro tire. Grind like my needs are dire. I grind like my straits are dire. Woke up, woke up, woke up.
Woke up. It's Monday morning, actually this afternoon. Welcome to the TezDown News. Today, on this edition of the show, it's been a while since I did the news here, and you guys have probably been wondering where I've been or what I've been doing, and I've just been busy. All right, I've just been busy, that's all. What's up? Mariel Washington, how you doing? It's nice to see you in the building first in here today. What's going on, though? We got In Too Deep in the building. What's up, In Too Deep? Welcome in, newbies. As you come in, please click on the like button and subscribe. It is a free way to support this channel. I am on Kick, I am on Twitch, and I am live on YouTube. This is the TezDown News. We're going to get it started bright and early in the morning. But first, we have to make sure that people understand just who I am and just what I do, and that's... Oh, yeah. Welcome down, Tezzy. Let's get it going. Let's get it going.
Remember this day. Remember this day.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about the news
Just
today,
blah,
y'all.
blah, gay sex, blah, blah, Congress.
Hey, man, settle down a little bit. Just let me get this out. That's all I need. All I need to do is get this out a little bit, okay? That's all we need to do. Now, we have so many things that have happened since I've been going away from the news. Now, if you haven't caught my nightcap episode or the human experience, you guys are missing out. I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on, but this is the news. These are the headlines. I am Tez. This is the TezDown, and this is the TezDown news. Let's get it going bright and early, y'all. First things first, and that is the Supreme Court's ruling on SCOTUS.
Governor Mike DeWine doesn't think the Supreme Court ruling ending temporary protected status for Haitians will make the country safer. The High Court ruled Thursday the Department of Homeland Security can end temporary protected status or Springfield. With the ruling this week, many legal immigrants had their status revoked. Governor Mike DeWine went on CNN State of the Union this morning, calling the ruling a mistake. But the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullins says the immigrants have several options, including going back to their home country.
It is clearly not safe. Anybody who has followed Haiti over a long, extended period of time.
Whoa. So you're telling me that because it's not safe in Haiti, you want them to go back to Haiti and not be here in the United States? Okay. All right.
Knows that it's worse than it has, frankly, ever been.
These individuals have a couple of choices. They can try to apply for a permanent residence here. They can apply for a temporary visa if they choose to, or they can choose to go back.
News Center 7 will have continuing coverage of the fallout from this ruling.
I mean, please try to understand that birthright citizenship is kind of a thing in just about every country that you go to. So you come to the United States, and then you become a naturalized citizen by birth, and they're going to say because your parents were from another country, you can't be here. You're not a citizen. You're not really a citizen. You were born in American hospitals. You don't get a birth certificate. You have to go back to the country that they were refugees from. But again, this is the country that we live in now. It just is what it is. I'm not mad about it. I don't care either way. I'm just saying this kind of a little bit wonky. Anytime you can start taking away the rights that you get as American citizens, there starts to become problems. This is one of them. You can't just start taking away rights from American citizens who are naturally born here. So what qualifies you as a natural citizen of the United States? Being born here, if being born here doesn't. Somebody let me know. I mean, this is not me arguing about the stuff situation. This is me wanting to know, why is it that this is happening? Anybody got any ideas? If y'all don't, let me know. We got to keep moving though. We have a shorter show today. Iran's last strike, is that the question that we have? Is Iran on their last strike?
The U.S. Supreme Court handed down two key decisions on presidential power and the...
I don't think that's what I wanted to do, y'all.
Governor Mike DeWine doesn't think the Supreme...
It's not what I wanted to do. We're going to go ahead and do what I wanted to do, okay? Let's go back here, go back to what I wanted to do, and we're gonna make it happen. It's like this. We're live, guys. It happens like this sometimes. You know what I mean? Let's go.
The U.S. Supreme Court handed down two key decisions on presidential power and the firing of people from government agencies. Justices ruled that President Trump does not have the constitutional authority to fire Lisa Cook, a governor from the Federal Reserve Board.
But the court backed the president's power to terminate Rebecca Slaughter, a Democratic appointee to the Federal Trade Commission. This ruling grants more presidential power over federal agencies that are considered independent. It overturns 90 years of precedent. CNN Chief Legal Affairs Correspondent Paula Reed is right outside the Supreme Court. So, Paula, walk us through the significance of these decisions today.
Pamela, these are such incredibly significant decisions. In many ways, these will be some of the defining opinions of the Roberts Court because they get to this question that has been hanging over the second Trump term, which is, are there any limits to his ability to fire federal officials? And here they give us some insight. While President Trump and his lawyers believe in something called a unitary executive theory and that the executives should be able to fire anyone they want, any way they want, here the justices put a few limits on that. In the one case, they ruled, and it's a really interesting group that was in this majority opinion. It's Chief Justice John Roberts, Justice Kavanaugh, and the three liberals all ruled that he cannot fire an official in the Federal Reserve without going through a process, giving that individual an opportunity to respond, that there are some limits on his power when it comes to firing officials at that agency. Now, that is one that has, of course, always been recognized as being independent of the White House. But in a separate case, when it comes to an employee at the Federal Trade Commission, that he does have the power to fire that individual because that is within the executive branch. And again, this is a significant decision because it's sort of drawing out the contours of the extent of his power to try to reshape the federal government through these mass firings. Now, President Trump wasn't clear how he was going to react to these decisions, and it's been a pretty mixed day for him overall at the court, but he described this as, quote, a big win.
I want to bring in our chief Supreme Court analyst, Joan Biskupik, right now. Joan, like Pamela,
Into Deep asked it's an interesting question. He said, I was born on an Air Force base in Japan. So do I get shipped back there then? Apparently, yes, but military bases are supposed to be a part of the soil, but this administration doesn't seem to understand those types of semantics. So while I may say that, yes, you do become an American citizen, that is not what the administration is saying today, anyway. And that's what we're dealing with. The second ruling that came down, there's a bunch of rulings from the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States. If you guys didn't know, that's what SCOTUS is. There's a bunch of rulings that are coming down that are counter to what President Trump wants. And so because President Trump doesn't want this to happen, I don't know, we might see a lot more issues. You know what I mean? I mean, we got other topics that we have to move through today. We're going to move through it right now. And Iran's last strike. All right, let's go.
Tonight, the U.S. and Iran are engaged once again in hostilities just 2 weeks into a ceasefire agreement that is supposed to lead to peace. CBS's Aaron Navarro is at the White House with the latest details. Aaron.
Jarika, good evening. President Trump has threatened more military strikes in Iran, while Iran's Revolutionary Guard warned this weekend that American bases in the region will experience, quote, hell in the coming days, and that more ceasefire violations will lead to a complete halt of negotiations. Early today, Iran launched missiles and drones towards U.S. military sites in the region. That prompted warning sirens in Kuwait. Iranian airstrikes also damaged this apartment building in Bahrain. The country is home to the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet. A U.S. official says no casualties were reported. Iran says they retaliated for this latest U.S. strike. Central Command says these included Iranian missile and drone storage locations after Iran targeted ships in the Strait this week. President Trump wrote Saturday, "It may come to a point when we are no longer able to be reasonable and will be forced to militarily complete the job." Control of the Strait of Hormuz remains the key point of tension. Washington.
See, what's happening is they're going to come to a deal, and they're going to end up turning the Strait of Hormuz into a toll road or strait. Anyway, they're going to have to pay a lot of extra money just to go through there. Not just bring the stuff back, not just sail. It's going to be a mess. Look at this.
Has pushed for a lane along the coast of Oman to allow more traffic. But today, Iran's foreign minister said only they should have any control of the strait. U.S. lawmakers say the back and forth casts further doubt over the prospects for a peace deal.
Well, I just simply don't trust the Iranian leadership, the mullahs, to live up to their commitments. We're already seeing it.
That deal could also be threatened by further clashes between Israel and Hezbollah. Hezbollah rejected a framework for peace signed by Israel and Lebanon on Friday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he is sending a delegation to Washington soon to advocate for Israel's security interests regarding the U.S.-Iran deal. Jarika?
And Aaron, President Trump this weekend posted pictures of himself on a new U.S. passport. Is this supposed to replace the regular ones?
The short answer is no. This is a limited version from the State Department to commemorate America 250. They are making 25,000 copies, and you can only get them in person at the Washington Passport.
Who wants one of those? Who wants one of those? Donald Trump over the Declaration of Independence? Who wants one? Go America. Right now.
Office. But it does follow the trend of President Trump looking to make his mark, from his unsuccessful push to affix his name to the Kennedy Center to his planned redevelopment of the East Potomac Golf Links in order for the public golf course to host, quote, major golf tournaments.
All right, Aaron, at the White House, thank you.
Look, this is crazy. All right, so we're going to move on from President Trump at the moment. He said, why does that sound familiar? You know why. I think you know why. I think you know why, too. Moving on in the show today, we're still talking about something that happened. We got drones and earthquakes. This is drone footage that has been captured for the earthquake that happened in Venezuela. as you guys can see, well, not yet, but you're going to see that there's been some devastating and catastrophic damage that has happened in Venezuela. Venezuela's already had enough problems, which is why they had so many refugees in the United States over the last couple of years. And it just seems like they're not able to get any rest or any respite. Like, look at this. This is terrible. This is a whole lot of damage caused by this giant earthquake that they just had just a few hours ago. So they've had their president kidnapped. They've had all types of issues that are going down. And then, that's what's up, ID1 Kenobi. Oh, no. Welcome to the TezDown. Venezuela. I mean, it's kind of how it was in a lot of these cities over the last couple of years, maybe the last 2 years or so, 2.5 years or so. It's been kind of has been a Venezuela, and it just is what it is. If you are watching on Twitch, if you are watching on Kick, if you're watching on YouTube, please let me know where you came from. I do appreciate seeing you guys pop in from time to time and have conversation. I'm very conversational on this channel. If you don't know, I am Tez from the TezDown. I'm here every single day, and also every night. For the most part, we have the nightcap that comes on afterwards. He said, oh, insurance claims on beach? Yeah, if they're going to pay out any insurance in Venezuela. Or do they have insurance claims in Venezuela? I'm not sure, man. You would think so, being a developed country, but how developed are they actually? I'm not sure. This is very depressing. So we're going to go to something else that's a little bit more depressing as well. It's the German youth shoe sting. It's pretty sad.
Gegen 12:10 Uhr heute am Montagmittag wurden der Polizei starke Schüsse gemeldet, ist ein Streifenwagen zum Einsatzort gefahren und dort muss...
The scene and colleagues unfortunately found several dead people there. The alleged unman was arrested just a short time after. The crime, 2 other people are undergoing police action. That means nothing that the police are interrogated and, if necessary, subject to forensics. This seems to be a situation that has unloaded and undeveloped in Germany. And I don't have a lot of details on it yet, neither do they, obviously. But we are watching it as it happened at a German youth school. And the toll that has been taken on these people is not yet told and not yet said, but we are breaking that news right now as to what's going on. And, you know, it's kind of rough, to be honest, if you're going to talk about it a little bit, but that is one of the harder things I have to deal with. As more information comes out, we will definitely be giving you more information on these stories, but I'm not going to dwell on it for too long. We do have a deal in Iran. This is breaking news. Breaking news, there is a deal in Iran. Let's go.
Thanks. Want to get to this now. Hostilities appear to be halting in the Middle East. President Trump saying that negotiations with Iran will resume tomorrow in Doha, Qatar. This comes after both countries traded intense strikes over the weekend, starting at the end of last week. Alex Hogan has more. North Lawn, the White House. What are you hearing, Alex? Good morning.
Hi, Bale. So a U.S. official tells me that Iran and the U.S. will stand down on attacks. Vessels in the Strait of Hormuz can move freely, and technical talks on the Memorandum of Understanding will continue. President Trump this morning announced that there will be a meeting in Doha tomorrow, saying that Iran has requested it, but Iranian officials today deny that any meetings are scheduled yet.
Special Envoy Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be flying to Doha for high-level meetings this week as we continue to discuss the Memorandum of Understanding. On the sidelines of those high-level talks will be the technical talks.
We have Senator Marco Rubio live.
And the only people who are allowed to go through there 100% without payments. If you do that, they'll keep the straits closed forever. They're trying to make this some new normal. Okay, under no circumstances can we ever allow them to normalize the fact that they get to blow up commercial ships and put mines in the water. So the response to that is we're going to blockade your ships. If everyone's ships are not getting out, your ships are not getting out either. That's not an act of war. That's a defensive measure. It's a counter to what they have decided to do. You know what is an act of war? Putting mines in the water. Why don't the members of Congress, whoever it is complaining about it, they should be all over that. These guys put mines in the water. That alone, mining in the water is illegal, period, under any circumstances, and they've done it. This is crazy stuff, but this is what they've done. On Cuba, oil blockade on Cuba. There's no oil blockade on Cuba per se. Here's what's happening with Cuba, okay? Cuba used to get free oil from Venezuela. Used to give them a bunch of free oil. They would take like 60% of that oil and resell it for cash. It wouldn't even go to benefit the people. So the only blockade that's happened is the Cubans have decided, the Venezuelans have decided, we're not giving you free oil anymore. And you can only imagine nowadays, the way oil prices are, no one's giving away free oil, much less to a failed regime. So the problem with Cuba is worse, okay? Their economic model doesn't work. Doesn't work. And the people who are in charge can't fix it. And the reason that I can't fix it is not just because they're communists, that's bad enough, but they're incompetent communists. The only thing worse than a communist is an incompetent one. And that's what, so incompetent communists run that country. They don't know how to fix it. They really don't. And we have 90 miles from our shores, a failed state that also happens to be friendly territory for some of our adversaries. So it's an unacceptable status quo, and we'll be addressing it, but not today. Okay. All right, let's go to the front, right there.
Secretary Rubio.
Yeah.
You are going to the Vatican to meet with the Pope. Is this an attempt to smooth things over with the Pope, given the rhetoric between President Trump and Pope Leo?
No, it's a trip we had planned from before, and obviously we had some stuff that happened. And no, look, there's a lot to talk about with the Vatican. I'll give you one example. The Pope just returned from a trip to Africa, where the church is growing very vibrantly. And we have shared concerns about religious freedom, freedom in different parts of the world. We'd love to talk to them about that. The topic of Cuba, we gave Cuba $6 million of humanitarian aid, but obviously they won't let us distribute it. We distributed it through the church. We'd like to do more. We're willing to give more humanitarian aid to Cuba, by the way, distributed through the church, but the Cuban regime has to allow us to do it. They won't allow us to give their own people more humanitarian aid, and we're willing to do it through the church. So there's a lot to talk about.
And the president recently said that the Pope is endangering a lot of Catholics as a result of his rhetoric around the Iran war. Is that a sentiment?
Well, I don't think that's an accurate description of what he said. I think what the president basically said is that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon because they would use it against places that have a lot of Catholics and Christians and others for that matter. It goes back to the central point. I think the president, without trying to speak for him, but I think I can characterize it this way. He doesn't understand why anybody, leave aside the Pope, the president, and I, for that matter, I think most people, I cannot understand why anyone would think that it's a good idea for Iran to ever have a nuclear weapon. Look what they're doing with the Straits right now. They're holding the whole world hostage. They have these sailors, on commercial ships that are going to starve to death out there. They don't care. They don't care that this is melting down the economies around the world, even of their own allies. This is what they're doing with the Straits. What do you think they would do if they had a nuclear weapon? They would hold the world hostage with that nuclear weapon. That's what they would do. They would do exactly to the world with a nuclear weapon what they're doing now with the Straits. And I think the president's point is how anyone cannot see that as an unacceptable outcome and an unacceptable risk is beyond him. It's puzzling. And someone has to do something about it. The difference between this president and like the 6 presidents that preceded him were that he's the only one that's actually been willing to do something about it. Everyone says Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, but you got to do something about it at some point. And he's been willing to address that threat. And that's what he promised he would do when he got elected, by the way, is address threats like this. I wish I knew your name.
Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary.
Can you put name tags on?
Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary.
Who are you with? Who are you with?
I'm with Rudao Media Network.
Okay.
Mr. Secretary, the President has said multiple times that weapons were provided to the Kurdish groups to pass on the Iranian people. However, Kurdish political parties and the regional government says they have not received such weapons. Even some claim these weapons remain in the U.S. base in the region. Can you clarify who those weapons were given to and whether you intend to retrieve them or still want to pass to the Iranian people?
Yeah, look, ultimately, what the President is expressing, and I think has repeatedly, is he wished the Iranian people had, look, he's heartbroken by these images. You think about it, you're an Iranian, okay? You're unhappy that your economy doesn't work for you. You don't have freedom. You don't have an opportunity to express yourself. You've got friends that have been shot in the head because they're out protesting. And it's heartbreaking to him to see that these people are abused in this way and have no measures to take against their own government as a result of it. By the way, this goes back, if you guys remember the protests in 2009 where they slaughtered people in the street. This is a vicious regime, guys. Okay, these are people that hang people from cranes in the town square so everyone can see. They continue these executions of people and have done continue to do.
Can you give me a source, Mr. Rubio?
And so I think what the president is expressing is the desire that he wishes the Iranian people had an ability to fight back against some of these things that are happening to them. And I would view that as distinct and separate from the specifics of this operation.
No, they can't negotiate
that was ongoing
anything at all
before it concluded, and certainly different from the operation that's going on now. Right there in the...
Regarding Colombia, Mr. Secretary,
right behind you, not Colombia, right there. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Secretary, thank you so much. On Lebanon, are
Yes.
we in a ceasefire or less fire? And the second question, do you think you would be able to achieve an agreement between Lebanon and Israel without risking a civil war in Lebanon? What are you doing to risk? What are you doing to?
No, I got it. I got the gist of your question. So look, here's the challenge with Lebanon, okay? There's no problem between the Lebanese government and the Israeli government. Israel doesn't claim any land in Lebanon belongs to them. And by and large, I think a peace deal between Lebanon and Israel is imminently achievable and should be. The problem with Israel and Lebanon is not Israel or Lebanon, it's Hezbollah. Hezbollah operates from inside of Lebanese territory. They terrorize and attack Israelis, but they also are inflicting tremendous damage on the Lebanese people. The reason why Lebanon gets attacked by Israel is because of Hezbollah, because Hezbollah is hiding in some house, launching rockets against Israelis, and then they get hit. So what you're seeing now is Israeli responses to either attacks or perceived threats. And this is not new. This has been going on for a very long time. What is our hope? Our hope is to engage the Lebanese and Israeli governments under our mediation at the table to achieve this. And that is having Lebanese armed forces and a Lebanese government, not just with a willingness, but with the capability to begin to challenge Hezbollah and disarm them. Because the Lebanese people are also victims of Hezbollah. And by the way, on the topic of Hezbollah and Lebanon, who is behind Hezbollah? Why do they exist? They're an agent of Iran. If you go through that Middle East and you identify every problem, Hamas, Hezbollah, to some extent the Houthis, obviously, and others, behind every one of these groups is Tehran. So apart from the nuclear weapons, apart from all these other things, these guys are behind all the bad actors. Hezbollah is a wing. It's an extension of Iranian desire to destabilize the region. So we're very committed to this process. It's not going to be easy. You're asking me a complex question. You know this has been going on for a very long time. It's not going to be easy. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that both sides continue to talk so that progress can be made on some sort of permanent ceasefire that isn't constantly spoiled by Hezbollah and by Hezbollah violence. Right in the middle.
Thank you, sir.
I'm winging it, guys, okay? Right there, yes, sir.
You mentioned the 2 U.S. ships that safely crossed the Strait of Hormuz. Are other ships being told it's safer to get back to regular levels, or are we still going to see limits in place for the foreseeable future?
It is a
shame. For obvious reasons,
It's a
I'm not going to
shame.
broadcast who we're talking to or who we're telling them to move. I mean, we want these operations to be safe, and I think as it unfolds and ships get through, we'll make those announcements after the fact, just for operational security purposes. But the goal here is pretty simple. Establish a zone of transit that is protected by a bubble, the United States, both naval and air assets, and then allow ships who want to move through there and get to market, to begin to increase confidence in the ability to do so. That doesn't happen in 12 hours. It takes time to set up that bubble and gain that confidence, but that's the goal. We have been in touch. We've been in touch, I don't know, with a bunch of different liners about moving, and we're hoping to continue to improve the security situation, and we'll start to see some of that movement, and we'll announce it as it happens after the fact. We're not going to be like broadcasting, hey, tomorrow at 12, ship X is going to be coming through, for obvious reasons, because that degrades the security. But we feel confident we're going to be able to achieve that. Look, it's not going to solve the whole Straits problem. It's going to solve a lot of it, but it's important to challenge what Iran is doing now. Guys, again, I wonder if you take anything away today, and I can't tell you what to write, but Iran cannot be allowed to normalize this control of the Straits. It's completely unlawful, illegal. It's outrageous. And every country in the world should be joining us and condemning it and doing something about it. But the United States has stepped up and is trying to do something about it.
Regarding Colombia, Mr. Secretary, we've had several tourists.
I'm sorry. We'll see if we get to Colombia today. Go ahead. You guys have an election now. Why don't you wait till after your election?
Mr. Secretary, John Michael Ross with Daily Mail. I was curious about your meeting with Southcom earlier. There was a picture, a map of Cuba behind you. What did you discuss with Southcom about Cuba? And do you have any updates on?
I'm not going to tell you what I discussed with Southcom.
but it had to do something with Cuba.
No,
what about?
Cuba's in Southcom.
Fair
It's
enough.
the closest part. And so the second point, I was there. Our ambassadors were in from the whole Western Hemisphere. I was
He doesn't want to
addressing
talk
them.
about it.
I'm meeting the general who just took command of Southcom. And there happened to be a map of Cuba. And I said, it'd be good if we took a picture in front of that map, because
so
it's
are
like
your
the
terrorists.
closest thing in Southcom to the United States. So there it is. We have maps of other countries. Huh?
What about Greenland? Did you update on Greenland?
No, they didn't have that map there. They only had in the red, right there in the red.
In the red, okay.
Cristina de Telemundo, Mr. Sec. Can I ask you in Spanish or can I
Yeah,
ask
you can answer in Spanish. You
Muchas
can ask me.
gracias.
And they'll have to translate for them what you
So
ask.
I'll say it in English, and if you can answer in both languages. Today I checked the webpage of the State Department, and there's still a $25 million bounty on Diosdado Cabello, the Secretary of Interior, for drug trafficking and narco-terrorism. I was wondering if that has been put on hold or if you're negotiating with President Delcy Rodriguez to turn him over.
Yeah, I don't have any updates for you on that. The website is what it is, and that's where it stands. That policy hasn't changed. But guys, I mean, let's be mature here a little bit. I'm not going to tell you about what we're talking about with the leader of these countries.
El Departamento de Estado sigue considerando a Diosdado Cabello un narcoterrorista y un narcotraficante, como dice en la página del Departamento de Estado.
La política de Estados Unidos en este tema no ha cambiado, y cuando cambie te dejaremos saber. The politics of the United States on that, the policy of the United States on that topic hasn't changed. When it does, you know, obviously we'll inform you, but I don't have any news for you on that today. Right there in the green. I'll get to you guys. Are you guys all the TV people?
Yeah. No.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go.
You're a TV
I'm learning.
person.
They gave me a little map. I don't know where
You're
I put it.
You're a TV person. What are you talking about?
Some of you have like red X's. I'm kidding. No, that's not true. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The average price of gas in the country right now is $4.50. Do you have a thought on how long Americans are supposed to kind of accept this? Do you think it will affect Republicans' majorities in the midterms?
Well, I'm not going to speculate on the politics of it. You can tell me. I mean, look, it's obviously being driven by global events. That was true during the Russia-Ukraine war as well, where you saw that come up. It's one of, look, we don't benefit from the Straits as much as other countries. I don't know if you've seen what the gas prices are like in other parts of the world.
Okay, if we don't benefit from the Straits like other countries, why are we so involved?
That are really suffering big time. So we're very fortunate that the United States, I believe right now, is like the world's largest net exporter of oil and natural gas as a result, not because of this war, but because we have this capacity. So we've been insulated to some degree. We're obviously still vulnerable to some extent to global prices, and so, but in the end, I mean, we're more insulated than other countries, even though that's not welcome news to Americans that are paying more at the pump, no doubt about it. And it certainly is one of the circumstances of it. There are people that were predicting would be much higher at this point, but we're not taking that for granted. Suffice it to say that think about it this way. Everybody needs to think about it this way. If Iran had a nuclear weapon, and they decided to close the Straits and make our gas prices like $9 a gallon or $8 a gallon, we wouldn't be able to do anything about it because they have a nuclear weapon.
What?
And a nuclear armed...
That doesn't make any sense at all. Iran does not have control of our gas prices, especially when the corporations that are in the United States are pumping out more oil and more gas than them. They only putting out 20% of the world's gas. 20% of the world's oil consumption is coming from this area, the Strait of Hormuz. So why then do you think that it's their fault? It's your fault. It's people like you, Senator Rubio. It's your fault. It's your fault and the rest of the governments.
Iran, right there, in the black. Right, you in the black. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Where you? No, right there. You both are wearing black.
Thank you.
She's closer. No, you don't have black. You have blue on. I'm colorblind, but I know blue and black. Right there. Yes, ma'am. No, you. The first one I called on.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you. This is chaos, guys. Go ahead.
Welcome to the White House. You've long been a leading voice on human rights in China, and so including religious persecution and forced organ harvesting. So President Trump prepares to meet Xi Jinping next week. Do you expect human rights concerns to be on the table?
Well, we always raise those issues, and they remain true. And I think we've proven in some cases it's most effective to raise them in the appropriate setting. But we always raise those issues. They're important to us, among with others, of course. But those issues remain prominent in our view and in our conversation about these things. And it will continue to raise them in the appropriate forums. All right, let's get to the front. These guys are going to get mad. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Simon Kelly, Associated Press. You mentioned earlier that some countries have privately and publicly indicated their willingness to help with Project Freedom. Can you say how many have reached out to the U.S. with their offers of help and what kind of capabilities?
Well, thank you for your question. That's a good question. I mean, multiple countries have said we got to do something about it and fix it.
Is it like dozens or single digits or more than 100? Or?
I don't know. I don't put a number on it. I would just tell you that here's what I would say about it. The capabilities is the issue. Okay, a lot of countries would love to do something about it. They don't have a navy, right? Or they can't get there in time, or they can't. Others, are less. That some
What's up,
unfortunately
Sons of
do have a
Mice?
navy
How you doing?
are saying, oh, we'll be involved, but we'll be involved after it's over. Well, after it's over, it's kind of like that makes sense. So
Missed the great
we'd
show
like to have
last
it.
night.
Now, there may be some utility in a post, closure mission. I'm not downplaying that, but I think that's been the challenge. But there are other ways they can help, unique ways that they can help. And I don't want to get into who these countries are for obvious reasons, because they are prepared to help us in certain ways, but maybe don't want that publicly disclosed for no other reason than it impact their foreign policy. It could have some domestic ramifications. But ultimately, I don't want to mislead you.
He's not going to answer the questions you want
primary responsibility for this Project Freedom is on the United States, because we're the only country that can project power in that part of the world the way we're doing now. We're the only ones that can do it, and we're going to do it as a favor to the world. Understand this. This is a favor to the world because it's their ships that are stranded. It's their fuel supplies that are stranded. By the way, it's their there's humanitarian aid destined for different countries in the world that's stranded in the Persian Gulf right now. It's the fertilizer that they need for their food and crops that's stranded in the Persian, not our fertilizer, their fertilizer. So we want to be helpful, and that's why the president stepped forward, because we're the only ones that can. Frankly, we're the only ones that can.
Mr. Secretary, on the rising oil and gas prices, the president has said that this is a small price to pay for getting rid of a nuclear weapon. But 10 weeks in, are we any closer to getting rid of Iran's nuclear material?
Yeah, but look, here's the way to think about Iran, and this is what I described at the very beginning of this. What was Iran's plan? You have to understand what their plan was. Their plan was they were going to build this conventional shield where they would have so many thousands of missiles and drones and rockets that they couldn't be attacked. And behind that conventional shield that they were trying to build, they would then break out and do whatever they wanted.
That's what I'm saying, Classic.
Program. They no longer have that conventional shield. Okay, we told you guys from the very beginning. And
what's up, Mitchell? How you doing, man? Welcome to the
building. That has concluded.
We got Classic in the building too. Make sure y'all know about that.
They have no Navy left. They don't. Not a Navy. They have small boats in Boston. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. I challenge you. When is the last time you read or heard about an Iranian jet flying anywhere? They don't have an Air Force. Their missile launching capability has been substantially degraded, and their industrial base, their defense industrial.
Then Mr. Rubio, Senator Rubio, why do we keep losing planes if they can't fight planes? Please tell me that. Please tell me how we keep on losing planes in Iran if they can't fight with planes. Tell me that. Tell me that right now. Tell me how their missile defense system is gone. Planes down. Missile defense system is gone. Helicopters down. 2 helicopters down. 3 helicopters down. 2 more planes. Shut up. Why are you lying to us like that? All of this is subterfuge, if you ask me.
As far as a negotiation is concerned, I think the president's been clear that part of the negotiation process has to be not just the enrichment, but what happens to this material that's buried deep somewhere that they still have access to if they ever wanted to dig it out. That has to be addressed, and that's being addressed in the negotiation. I'm not going to go further on what progress has been made on that topic because I don't want to endanger the negotiations, but suffice it to say that the president and this entire team is aware of the centrality of that question, and that will have to be addressed.
Exactly, Charlie.
Right there. Right there. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Secretary, I have another 2-part question for you.
Okay.
First, are you taking part in those negotiations that you just detailed there? And then secondly, President Trump has made it clear that the U.S. doesn't rely on the Strait of Hormuz. So why should Americans even care about Project Freedom and these shipping tankers going through?
Well, I think on the second point is the one I want to address first, and that is why should Americans care and why it matters to us? Because ultimately these things have an impact on the global economy, which ultimately has an impact on our economy in the long term. That's number one. Number two, because if we live in a world where a rogue state like this Iranian regime is allowed to claim as a new normal control over international shipping lane, it will not be long before you see that happen in multiple shipping lanes around the world. I can identify for you 6 or 7 vital shipping lanes around the world that some countries can decide, guess what? If Iran was able to do it, we're going to do it too. We're not going to start charging tolls. And it'll get closer and closer.
You charge us tolls.
We cannot live in a world. There's a lot of time and energy been invested behind the idea that international waters are free for the free flow of goods. The stuff we make in this country and export has to go through international shipping lanes. And for us to live in a world where a country can decide, now we own the international shipping lane and you have to pay us if you want to use it, that is a normal that we will never be able to accept. And that's what the Iranians are trying to get us to do.
It's always moving the goalposts.
So we're doing 2 things about it.
Every
and we
time.
haven't talked about the second one enough. The second thing we're doing is we're going to the UN. Everybody loves the UN, right? We're trying to go to the UN and we're saying, okay, countries of the world, condemn this. Say that it is wrong for you to put mines there. It is wrong for you to shoot at commercial vessels. Guys, that's what we're talking about here. These guys are bombing commercial vessels. They're not bombing naval vessels. They're bombing commercial tankers.
Yeah, the economy isn't real. It's made up.
Outrageous. That needs to stop, and it needs to end. And if it doesn't, then the world should be diplomatically and economically isolating Iran as well. But if we live in a world where global shipping lanes can be taken over by countries, that'll have a direct impact on Americans in the short and the long term, and we can't let it start by
it's
Iran.
It's not going to have a direct impact on
And we're
me.
the only ones that can do anything about it.
The only direct impact it's going to have is if you can't do anything on your own. This is what we're talking about. If you can't do anything on your own, you can't farm, you can't till, you can't raise livestock, you can't raise chickens to get your eggs that you want, you can't churn butter or do any of this stuff to make cheese, and yeah, you're going to have problems. Yeah, you are. But if you have skills or you try to learn these skills, which is very easy right now, then you're not going to have these issues at all. This is a problem that is being created by the government and being forced upon us, the people of the country. And people keep trying to argue back and forth like it's the left, like it's the right. No, how about everybody go back to the middle and everybody say, is this good for us, yes or no? Is this good for us, yes or no? If the answer is no, that this is not good for us, then why the heck are we continuing to do it? I don't know. Come on, Mr. Rubio.
What happened? Why is everybody giggling? What happened? You guys... Oh, I'm sorry. Are they mean
Carol,
to you?
no, they're not mean.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they are. I hope
Okay.
not. But I'm
All right,
Carol
I'm
from
sorry.
Lindell
Go ahead.
TV, and nice to
Thank
ask you a
you.
question
All right.
today, sir. How does the State Department interpret the president's recent remarks when he said, quote, the Iranian people need to have guns, and I think they are getting some guns, end quote. What did he mean, and do those comments relate to any ongoing or potential U.S. actions like supplying those weapons?
Well, I think it goes back to the question I was asked a moment ago. I think the president thinks it's heartbreaking that the Iranian people are abused by this regime the way they are. In the end, I mean, this regime is not... Guys, I know I've said this. I think I said this in my hearing before the Senate when I got confirmed. I don't know of any country in the world where there's a bigger difference between the people and the people who run the country. Okay, this country is run by radical Shia clerics. And that's not what Iran and the Iranian people are. Now, they may be Shia, but they're not radicals and they're not clerics, and they just want a normal life and a regular life, and in many ways a very cosmopolitan country with an incredible history and incredible legacy and the like. So there's this huge divide between the people of Iran, whom we sympathize with, and who the president sympathizes with.
If you sympathize with the people, why do you keep
the
destroying
world
the
is a victim
people?
of Iran.
The
Okay?
people,
the
not
world
the
is a
government,
victim
the
of Iran
people.
because they're terrorists, because of what they're doing now in the Straits. But the people of Iran are daily victims of the regime, and the president has deep sympathy for what they're going through. And I think he's just expressing that sympathy and that frustration that they don't have the ability to do more to get rid of this regime that has crushed this country and isolated it from the world, which is a country that shouldn't be isolated from the world because its people are phenomenal. All right. I wish I had like a dice. Go ahead. Yeah. No, right there, because I'm going to Italy. Voy a Italia. Déjame hablar con el señor. Okay. He's Italian. I know him. He used to cover Capitol Hill. You're Italian, right?
For many years.
For many years. Okay.
Daniele Papandreou, thank you, Mr. Secretary. So I have two short questions for you.
Oh, the damn two questions.
First, as you head to the Vatican and Italy, how do you view the Pope's global role amid current geopolitical shift? And what are your objectives?
A lot of money.
Is this trip tied to recent remarks by the president suggesting Italy has not been supported as
Yes, he is,
expected?
Sharon.
And the second one is about the Hezbollah in Lebanon. On a recent interview on Fox News, you raised some concern about stronger vetting within the Lebanese armed forces. What do you make? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, I've answered the first one about the Vatican. Look, I mean, the Pope is obviously the vicar of Christ, is a Roman Catholic, but he's also the head of a nation state, and it's an organization that has a presence in over 100-something countries around the world. And we engage with the Vatican quite a bit because they're present in many different places. I've already outlined to you two examples. We worked with the Catholic Church on the distribution of humanitarian aid in Cuba. We share with the Catholic Church a concern about the destruction of religious liberty, the persecution of Christian minorities, and also, the challenges that are being faced by Christians in Africa, where the Pope just recently visited. So we have a lot to talk about with them, and I engage with them quite a bit on that front. So the trip is really not tied to anything other than the fact that it would be normal for us to engage with them, and other Secretary of States have done that in the past. On the second point about Lebanon, also a question that was asked earlier, and what was the Italian part?
I remember. I talked about it.
Oh, no, look, I mean, the Italians have been involved for some time in training the police and in training their forces, so we'd love to hear their input on it.
Look, they're talking about a religious organization and just calling them straight up the Italians. We got more news today, and this is going to be our last subject for the day because I'm getting irritated with the fact that this is what's going on in the world that we're living in today. We do have a question. The Democrats bolster with socialists? This is what's being touted, and this is what's being said. I don't know how true this is. We're going to find out this information right now together. This is breaking news on the TezDown.
Whole thing, because it's watching momentum catch fire right now. After New York wins, the next test is tomorrow in Colorado. Incumbent Senator John Hickenlooper faces a challenge from Julie Gonzalez, a state senator aligned with socialists, and Melak Quiros is trying to unseat 15-term Democrat
I would like one
Congresswoman
chicken.
Diana DeGette. Critics say Quiros has crossed the line into Jewish hatred.
You've said that the October 7th massacre of Israeli civilians by Hamas fighters was the, quote, inevitable consequence of apartheid. Can you explain what you meant by that?
Yeah. I think identifying what's happened over the course of these events in Israel and Palestine is inevitable. Israel is a country that has been accused of...
I hear this so many times, but it's time for our afternoon. We're going to finish this story, but it's time for a stretch. If you guys are at work or if you guys are chilling, you guys need to go ahead and do a stretch. Let's go ahead and get this going. Everybody, stretch with me. We're going to finish the news, but stretch out. This is good for your body. Let's go. Get the neck roll, go. Let's go. 310. You turn the other way now. Touch it out. Left, right. Let's go. Right into left. Oh yeah, thank you guys for the afternoon stretch. That is a TezDown stretch down. We are back into the news. The Dems are bolstering with socialism?
Apartheid and occupation for decades now, and has been able to resist any kind of change.
Yes, the liberal left has said for decades that is true. We see their hatred on full display. So far, there are only a handful of Democrats that publicly oppose the far-left agenda of the Democrat socialists. Wow. Others are talking up how inclusive the party is. Come on, socialists, it's warm.
I want us to be a Big Tent party. I think that it's actually a sign of a party that is alive and growing.
We are a Big Tent party focused on the ordinary concerns of everyday Americans.
We've got to have a Big Tent if we want a majority.
One of the things that makes the Democratic Party great is it's a Big Tent party. We need to stay that way.
Cory Booker.
Power panel now. Tiffany Smiley, former Republican Senate candidate in Washington and Endeavor PAC founder, and Richard Fowler, Fox News contributor. Great to have you both. Richard, what is it that your party likes about socialism right now?
I don't necessarily think it's a like. I think you have to really zoom in on the voters here.
Well, if you tolerate something, you celebrate
it. Hold on, wait. But Harris, remember, millions of people voted in New York, millions of people voted in Virginia, millions of people voted for in New Jersey, and they voted for a reason. They didn't vote because they were afraid of socialism. I think when us in the Beltway and in the media sort of land, we live in socialism of the 1960s, kids doing nuclear bomb raids. In today's America, kids are doing active shooter raids. We're seeing schools that are taking cuts. We're seeing schools that are taking closures. And for a lot of American voters, they're frustrated at the fact that in this building here in Washington, see a block away from our bureau, they're not doing enough to address the real needs of everyday working Americans. The cost of health care. Exactly. That's happening in schools. The cost of rent.
I talk about that all the time.
And in Washington, both Democrats and Republicans, that are ignoring the real issues facing everyday Americans.
All right, you start with crime, you start with shooting and all of that. And I want to know, since abolishing police and prisons is something that is, I mean, it's just basic socialism from what Democrats are laying out who float that way. I want to know, how do you address some of the issues? I'm going to come to you, Tiffany. It just doesn't, it's not sensical. Like, how do you attack those things that he just mentioned by taking away the very apparatus that keeps them in place and makes them better?
Yeah, it makes no sense, and there are policies that they will not be able to deliver on. And you look at a lot of the crime is happening in blue cities. The Democrat Party is not a Big Tent party. They have been hijacked by the Democrat socialists, and we should never count out these Democrat socialists.
Is that true?
Harris, what we are seeing in Colorado, what you just explained and laid out, is what I have been talking about for years now, this rise in anti-Semitism. And really, candidates...
Hold on, why do you care so much?
who are anti-America. They want to abolish police. They want to abolish ICE. They want no deportations. They want Medicare for all. They want free grocery stores. In
They
New
do
York,
need
they
to be
want buses,
retrained,
and they're going to go
Mariel. Yes,
faster.
they do. Yes, they do.
There is no way they will be able to deliver on this. And Richard, to your point, I have to ask, if Democrats are staying silent on this, does this mean that they agree? Does this mean that they are welcoming this into their party?
Lady, you lost your election. Let the man answer the first question that you asked. Don't ask him 5 more. I hate, absolutely hate, when someone asks me one question, they don't let me answer it, then they ask 5 more questions, then they tell me that I didn't answer all the questions. Let's get through some of these. Glenn Lowry said, Ministry made a song about George Bush Sr. and the One World Order. Yeah, they did. Mariel Washington said, you mean the people that shoot first and ask questions later? Maybe they need to be retrained. And they do. Arian Blitzcat said Fox Liar Station, and the code enforcement came out of there. Yeah, look at what we're talking about. Look at what we're dealing with. I can't stand when somebody doesn't let somebody answer the question. Let the man answer the question.
Allow me to answer that by taking contention with the point that you made at the top. You said that there's all this crime happening in blue cities. That's apropos to the facts.
Well, there's crime happening all over the country because people migrate, things happen all over.
But
what I'm
whether it's
saying
in
is you need police, whether it's in Arkansas or California. You need immigration customs.
Back to 1968. The murder rate in Baltimore is lower now than it was in 1968. Same for Chicago, same for New York, same for Washington, D.C. Blue cities where you see blue communities, black and brown people coming together and solving the crime in their cities.
That's actually a fact.
What Tiffany's scared of? I don't understand why.
Socialist policies
I don't understand why.
causing the rise in crime in these cities.
Crime is down.
Not going to work.
Crime is down, though.
So when you go to Chicago and you see the number of young people in particular who were shot in these crimes, dozens of them in a weekend, over and over and over. I'm not saying it only because it's a blue city. I let you talk. I'm not saying it's only because it's a blue city. It's in America. We're red, white, and blue. We don't want it to happen anywhere.
Absolutely.
Donald Trump told me personally as he was running and has said so since as president of the United States for a second time, crime is something that he's focused on in keeping Americans safe. He'll go to New York. He'll go wherever he wants to go to help and wherever people will have that help.
I can't agree with you more,
so
and we should be willing to commend
it isn't just because it's happening, but Chicago is a prime example
and Zoran
of where
Mamdani for decreasing crime because their policies are working.
Seattle. Okay. Look at Seattle.
Wow. And you live in Washington, so you know.
Richard.
The crime is down in all those cities.
Tiffany, go ahead.
Precipitously down.
Yeah. I think there's a bigger issue at play. So these candidates who are taking over the party, they want to abolish police. They want to abolish ICE. They also, some of them have even said that murderers shouldn't even have to go to prison. No deportations. Doesn't matter if you're illegal. Doesn't matter if you're a murderer. No deportations. They're playing on the emotions. And they're trying to talk about policies that they will never be able to deliver on. Or if they do get a foothold, it will destroy our cities from the inside out. We know that socialism does not work. It actually.
Are you guys tired of hearing the rhetoric? If you guys are tired of hearing the rhetoric, please put your ones in the chat. You can either use the finger emoji or you can just put a 1, whichever's easier for you. I like to see a little bit of color in there, though. Let's see what you guys got. 1, if you guys are tired of the rhetoric coming from this. 2, if you guys think that this is actually a good idea.
Harm more people than it benefits.
All right. I'll meet you anytime in Chicago, Richard, and we can pray for the victims.
When we can take them.
I'm in Chicago right now. Ain't nothing happened. I've been walking around the city for the last couple of days, literally walking around the city on all the sides. I've been on the south side, I've been on the west side, I've been up north, and I've been over east. And I ain't never had a problem with any of it. Why are you afraid? You black? He black, he ain't scared. Let's see what she about to say next.
Serious crime, and get that mayor to stop saying we don't need more police.
It is absolutely beautiful in the city of Chicago.
Like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest.
Harris is beautiful in the city of Chicago. It was wonderful at Lakeshore this weekend. I had an amazing time. All of it was great. Yes, it was. So to tell me that I have to be afraid because I'm in Chicago is ridiculous. It truly is. I'm not afraid of what's happening in Chicago. I'm not worried about any of this. What I am worried about is the fact that they keep thinking that we're idiots and that we're going to keep following behind all of this doom and gloom that everybody is trying to put on us each and every single day. I am not dealing with that at all. The rates of crime are down across the cities. All of them, they're down because people are no longer wanting to deal with all of this garbage. Yes, things still do happen because that's human nature. Stop trying to act like human nature is not a thing. Stop trying to act like people don't fight. Stop trying to act like people don't take, steal, rob, all of these things to do because they don't have the money. and the economy is the worst. So you're upset because there's been a small surge? Well, people are broke. So yes, they're taking things. They no longer want to be a part of the structure that you guys have created. And why would they? I wouldn't want to. The only reason why I behave is because who likes jail? Or death? Who wants to get shoosted by people who don't have any trigger discipline or who've been undertrained, or worse, ICE agents who definitely didn't even go to school for it? Nobody wants to deal with that at all. Not the left, not the right, and definitely not the people in the middle. I don't like the left. I don't like the right. I'm cool in the middle. I'm cool minding my own business until I have to say something, which you have forced me to say something because you talked about my city. You talked about Chicago. Every time that you talking heads have a problem, the first thing that you say is, ooh, Chicago. Exactly. Chicago's not in a hard spot. Chicago is thriving. He said, how are those Bears games going to be in Indiana? Randall, I think that's not a real thing. I think being a former Chicago Bear myself, Tez, I would like to say that this is a ploy to get the city of Chicago, as well as the surrounding areas and the governor, to agree to fund half of the building project. The only way that you're going to find the Bears in Indiana is if the Bears have zero luck getting any kinds of funding, and they shouldn't have that problem because they are the prominent team in the NFL. Not the most prominent team, that would be the Dallas Cowboys, but they originated the league. So of course they want to keep them in Chicago. It's just more politics. Again, it's just more politics. Jake said, what if a white man walks through Chicago? I watched probably 1.4 million of them walk around Chicago the same as me. A matter of fact, in most of the areas that I was walking around in downtown Chicago, I was the only black person that I saw. Check out Lakeshore stuff. You'll see me. I did some celebrity stuff over the weekend. Yes, I did. I did the same thing last weekend too. It's how it works. I'm lucky to do that. Dora Duncan said, "What's up? What's up?" Hold on 1 second, guys. Well, guys, that was an opportunity that came in, and I'm sorry for that, but I have a wonderful opportunity that just came in, and I could not let that pass me by. They are watching me right now. Thank you for watching the TezDown. I do appreciate that, and but try not to call me when I'm live. Like I do understand that you wanted to offer me this opportunity, and it's going to be great. In Too Deep, me and you will be in touch later on. I got to talk about this with you before I do anything. But thank you guys for being here. I'm going to finish with. There's so many comments, and I'm going to get through them right now. Mario Washington says, stop asking questions if you guys don't want to hear the answer. I agree with that. Jake said, Trump tore the New World Order down. Andrew Deep said, no, she didn't. Elvis, what's going on, Elvis? I do like Elvis, I really do. So it reminds me of that stupid Fox News. Andrew Deep said, the one, yeah, they're lying. The lies they are always spewing out of their mouth should be illegal. It's not, but Fox is incredible, I guess. Shannon Mosley, what's up? What's going on? Both sides are trash, and I agree. Mitchell said, correct, and tore down the international trade that the Crown set up after World War II. Yes, they did. Yes, they did, and this administration did. Jake says, still a good city we would like to save. I like the W right there, Cubs W. This Chicago is fine, guys. Do not believe the hype that they keep telling you on the news. Chicago is fine. Any other Chicagoans in here, please let them know that we're good in the city. Yes, we are. Jake, yeet. Hold on. Yeet. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, Jake. I got to give you one just because, I got to go ahead and say it too. If you know what I'm talking about.
Say his name and he appears.
This is sick shit.
Yes, it is. Let's go. Mitchell said, pulling industry away from America and giving it to third world countries and China, starting with the President Nixon. That's the truth. Yeah, like training your own people is beyond your intelligence, Randall Cheek. You have to train your own people for sure. Exactly, Randall. He said, Bengals, sir. Hey, my dad played for the Bengals. Ain't nothing wrong with them. I ain't got no problem with the Bengals. But put some food on our table for sure. Mitchell said, thumbs up. What's up? Mario Washington said, why you guys always go to race? They always go to race because it's their favorite thing to do. And then get mad when I say I'm black and I'm proud. Jake said, just asking, not trying to trigger anyone. Why do you always take it as an insult? Because it has been over the years, Jake. I'm not mad at you. I don't think Marielle's mad at you either. We're just having conversation here on the TezDown. Salome Grant, what's up, Salome? How you doing? The first time I see, I like that name. I like the M-A-E part of it, for my own personal reasons. And then In Too Deep said, tread light. Hey, it's okay, In Too Deep. Jake is all right for right now. He's just trying to ask questions because maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. If you guys haven't seen my show, if you guys haven't seen the nightcap episode, I'm going to put a little nightcap banner right now. Let's go ahead and put the nightcap banner up. You guys go back and catch the TezDown nightcap, which is right there. Everyone tells the truth after midnight. Yes, they do. We had a great show last night with In Too Deep and another lady that came to talk to us. But I have an update. We're going to be doing another one of our shows with the Human Experience with Tez and Classic from the Classic Codes. Make sure you subscribe to the Classic Codes and Classic Code Sports across the metaverse, as well as YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. We are all live all the time, and this is a little preview of the show.
I'm only gonna do this once. Classic! Lord God, anything attached to me that could be holding me down and keeping me from my ascension. I pray that you detach that from me, so I can fly. They think ill about me, they still around me. Lord God, please set me free. I ain't going out like Gandhi, bet it won't be nobody next to me. Cause I'm watching the people I'm loving the close way more than the people I don't. Cause the people that hurt me the most in this life be the people that's locked in my phone. They made a mistake, I gave them some grace. I make a mistake and they won't do the same. People be dishing out what they can't take and they take what they cannot get back to the game. I'm unforgiving cause I'm unforgetting, I harbor resentment. I know what you did. I am not Jesus, it ain't no repentance when I'm on a mission and moving relentless. Been here before, I know the feeling. Think it's forever, the end to be chilling. Mike Jackson, my life is a thriller. Close to midnight, I turn to the villain. Boundaries over sparing your feelings. Sebastian gone, you can cry me a rib. To be great, you gon' have to be different. When you say it, they gotta know that you meant it.
So please, check out the shows. Check them out, please. Type in the Human Experience. Type in Nightcap on the TezDown. Type in the Classic Codes. You guys can see us live just about every day of the week. We try to do a show every day of the week, sometimes two. I did one last night. I did one today. That's less than 24 hours. We are live and ready. In Too Deep said the Human Experience. You guys go ahead and click the links when it's time. Is that happening in Trump's? Yes, it is. And Salome Grant said, did you know that Iran has a psychiatrist working with them to deal with Trump because they think he has dementia? Because he does. He's like 80 years old. Come on now. You think that he's... I don't. Would you trust your 80-year-old grandpa to run the country? I doubt it. I doubt it. Okay? Come on now. What president that didn't have dementia would be like this on stage?
I'm going to come. Oh.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, guys. One last thing before we get up out of here today. I want to thank everybody for coming through. We are on tour. We're trying to find new tour dates. If you want to see us in your city, maybe you should reach out to the things that are going across the bottom of the screen. You can skip the Super Chat. Cash App, hashtag TezDown, and Zelle with my email address. You can email me ideas for the show, or if you want to appear, and all my socials are at Soul Reaper 24. You can find me there. I am Tez.
Why you ain't say nothing? I'm only gonna do this once. You always knew I'd make it in the beginning. Why you ain't say nothing? You believed in me the whole time, for real? Yeah. I couldn't tell. You was around me from the beginning. Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't say nothing? Seen them hard times, couldn't kill me. Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't say nothing? Stages I'm on getting bigger. Now you wanna say something. Been watching my story all winning. Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't call? Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't say nothing? You was around me from the beginning. Why you ain't say nothing? Stages I'm on getting bigger. Now you wanna say something. Put that on my soul.
So, if you want to line up appearance on my show, or if you want to line up a boxing match, you could also email us down there. You can also email In Too Deep. In Too Deep is definitely handling a lot of that for me right now. Thank you, In Too Deep, for everything that you've done for the show and being a special guest once again last night. If you guys missed the nightcap last night, please go back and catch the TezDown nightcap. Everybody Tell the Truth After Midnight. It is on this channel as well. I am steadily trying to grow this channel as well as the other channels that I have. We are doing a pretty good job. I do appreciate every instance of people coming through, and you guys wanted my Godzilla shirts. I got to do Godzilla shirts all the time. I need more. If you guys do find other Godzilla shirts, you can email them to me or send them to me directly. I do check my DMs rather frequently. I'm not one of those people that ignores people. Maybe you guys can find out a little bit more about me if you check out my socials, because I'm definitely not going to tell you all those things right here, and definitely not on the TezDown News. But it has been good. It has been great. I am Tez. This has been the TezDown News. Those are the headlines for today. Hopefully I see you guys later on today. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow and tomorrow night for another episode of The Human Experience and the Nightcap for the end of the night. You guys have been wonderful. I am Tez. I am 2-4. This is the TezDown. It has been the TezDown News. I will catch you guys in hopefully less than 24. Enjoy the rest of your days. Make sure you stretch, drink your water, and keep it nice, y'all. This is Spit Sports Unscripted, Culture Unfiltered. This is more unfiltered culture as we talk about the news. I'm Tez.
I'm the Tez. I'm the Tez.
Welcome to the TezDown. Welcome.
I'm the Tez.
Mic check 1 2. Welcome. Welcome to the TezDown. Party time.